I adjusted my blazer as I stood in the lobby of the Grand Hyatt, surrounded by Seattle's tech elite. The launch party for my sister Amanda's new software company, Nexus Solutions, was the talk of the industry. Floating champagne trays, ambient lighting, and enough self-important chatter to fill a TED conference. The irony of my presence wasn't lost on me. For 6 months, I'd been Nexus Solutions' biggest client under a different name. Of course, as CEO of Horizon Technologies, I'd signed their largest contract through a subsidiary, keeping my identity hidden behind layers of corporate structure. Amanda had no idea her tech support sister was actually running a Fortune 500 company. Your name? The hostess at the registration desk smiled professionally. Olivia Parker. Her perfectly manicured fingers scrolled through the tablet. Ah yes, general admission, back section, table 23. Of course, Amanda would never seat family near the VIP tables. I made my way through the crowd, nodding at familiar faces who had no idea who I really was. In this room, I was just Amanda Parker's plain older sister who did something with computers. The reality? I was Olivia Parker, CEO of Horizon Technologies, one of the largest enterprise software companies on the West Coast, the same company that had recently signed a $2 million contract with Nexus Solutions through our subsidiary, Atlas Systems. A contract Amanda had been bragging about all month. I found my table in the back, as far from the stage as possible while still being in the same room. My place card was handwritten, probably by someone's assistant's assistant. The other seats held middle management types, all looking slightly uncomfortable in rented formal wear. Ladies and gentlemen, a voice boomed over the speakers. Please welcome the visionary founder and CEO of Nexus Solutions, Amanda Parker. My sister practically floated onto the stage, her designer dress catching the spotlights perfectly. Everything about her was calculated for maximum impact, from her professionally highlighted hair to her casual but commanding stance at the podium. Thank you all for being here tonight, she began, her practiced smile gleaming. When I started Nexus Solutions in my garage 2 years ago, I had to hold back a snort. Her garage had been a fully funded office space backed by our parents' retirement fund, the same parents who drained their savings supporting her dreams while telling me to be practical about my career choices. And now, with the support of our incredible investors and our growing client base, including the prestigious Atlas Systems, my phone buzzed. A text from my CFO, contract review meeting tomorrow? Yes, I typed back, need to discuss some concerns about Nexus Solutions' delivery timeline. Amanda was still talking, her voice carrying that particular tone she used when building to a spontaneous joke. And of course, success like this doesn't come without sacrifice. Just ask my family, especially my sister. Here it comes. Poor Olivia still works in tech support, she laughed, gesturing vaguely toward my table. But hey, maybe once Nexus really takes off, I can get her a real job. The crowd chuckled politely. My tablemates shifted uncomfortably, suddenly very interested in their champagne glasses. I stayed perfectly still, my face neutral. Let her have her moment. The punchline would come soon enough. After the speech, Amanda worked the room like a politician, air-kissing investors and laughing just a little too loudly at their jokes. She was approaching my table, probably for the obligatory family acknowledgement, when her COO intercepted her. Amanda, the Atlas Systems representatives are here. Her face lit up. Where? Actually, I stood slowly, straightening my blazer. I can help with that. Amanda's perfect smile flickered. Olivia, not now. I need to meet with some very important people. Yes, I smiled. You do. I pulled out my business card, not the generic one I used for family functions, but my real one, CEO, Horizon Technologies, embossed in silver on heavy stock. What is this? She frowned, taking the card automatically. Proof that your sister did a little better than tech support. I turned to her COO, John, isn't it? We spoke last week about the implementation timeline concerns. The color drained from his face. Ms. Parker, you're the CEO of Horizon Technologies, parent company of Atlas Systems, your biggest client. I smiled at Amanda, surprise. The room didn't exactly go silent, there were too many people for that, but a bubble of quiet spread around us as nearby conversations stuttered to a halt. This is a joke, Amanda said flatly. You can't be. Call Marcus Thompson at Atlas, I suggested, or better yet, check your own contract. The final approval signature? That's mine. She fumbled for her phone, fingers trembling slightly as she pulled up her emails. I waited patiently as she found the document, watched her scroll to the last page. Olivia J. Parker, she read aloud, her voice barely a whisper. CEO, Horizon Technologies. The same sister who's just in tech support, I noted mildly, though I suppose running a Fortune 500 company could be considered technical support of a sort. John the COO looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. Several nearby investors were poorly concealing their interest in the unfolding drama. Why didn't you tell me? Amanda demanded, her professional mask cracking. All this time. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly, or would you have dismissed it? Like you dismiss everything about me that doesn't fit your narrative? I don't. Don't what? Don't constantly belittle my achievements? Don't treat me like I'm beneath you? Don't use me as a punchline in your speeches? She flinched. That was just a joke. No, I cut in. It was cruel, and now it's backfired rather spectacularly, hasn't it? The silence had spread further now, even the ambient music seemed muted. About that contract, I continued pleasantly, we should discuss the delivery timeline issues. Your team's missed 3 milestones already. We can fix that. John jumped in desperately. If we could schedule a meeting. Oh, we'll have meetings. I picked up my clutch, many of them, starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. in my office. Bring your project plans. All of them. Amanda was still staring at my business card like it might explode. Mom and Dad, they never said. They don't know. I shrugged. They were too busy funding your startups to notice what I was building. Ms. Parker, a silver-haired man approached. Martin Reeves, one of Seattle's biggest tech investors. I didn't realize you were here. We should discuss that AI development proposal. Tomorrow, Martin, I smiled. Tonight's my sister's big launch. Wouldn't want to steal her spotlight. The sarcasm wasn't lost on anyone. I turned back to Amanda. Congratulations on the launch. The canapes are excellent. Oh, and you might want to update your investor pitch deck. The market penetration numbers seem a bit optimistic. I walked out before she could respond, heels clicking against the marble floor, leaving behind a wake of whispers and a sister whose perfect night had just imploded. The next morning, I arrived at my office to find it already buzzing with activity. Sarah, my assistant of 5 years, met me at the elevator. Your sister's been calling since 6 a.m., she reported, falling into step beside me. Your parents too. And Nexus Solutions' entire executive team is waiting in the conference room. How long have they been here? Since 8. They brought presentations, technical documentation, everything. I smiled slightly. Good. They're taking this seriously. There's something else. Sarah hesitated. Your sister, she's in your office. Of course she was. I found Amanda pacing by my floor-to-ceiling windows, still wearing yesterday's makeup but with different designer clothes. She spun when I entered. How long? She demanded. How long have you been running Horizon? 6 years as CEO. I founded the company 10 years ago. 10 years? She sank into one of my visitor chairs. But that's when you were supposedly working entry-level IT jobs. No, that's what you assumed I was doing because you never actually asked. I set my things down, took my seat behind the desk. You were too busy with your own startups to notice what I was building. But you never said anything. At family dinners, holidays. Would it have mattered? You were always too busy talking about your latest venture, your newest investor, your brilliant ideas. I leaned back. When was the last time you asked me about my work? Really asked, not just used it as setup for a joke. She had the grace to look ashamed. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every joke, every dismissive comment, every time you used me as an example of someone who didn't dream big enough. Olivia. No, I cut her off. We're not having that conversation right now. Right now, we're discussing your company's failure to meet its contractual obligations to mine. She straightened, trying to gather her professional dignity. We can explain the delays. To my project team, in the conference room, where you should be. Can't we talk about this? As sisters? We stopped being sisters the moment you decided I was beneath you. I pressed my intercom. Sarah, please escort Ms. Parker to the conference room, and send in the first quarter projections. After she left, I sat quietly for a moment, looking at the Seattle skyline from my office. 10 years of building this company, 10 years of letting my family think I was just getting by, 10 years of listening to Amanda's condescension. My phone buzzed. Mom, again. This time, I answered. Olivia? Her voice was uncertain. Is it true? Amanda just called us. Yes, Mom, it's true. But why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? Or would you have been too busy helping Amanda with her latest startup? Silence. We had no idea. No, I agreed, you didn't. Because you never looked. Honey, we never meant to. I have a meeting, Mom, a very important one with Amanda's company. We can talk about this later. I hung up before she could respond. The conference room was tense when I walked in. Amanda sat between her COO and CTO, all three looking like students called to the principal's office. My team, actual tech experts, not just people who talked a good game, filled the other side. Let's begin, I said, taking my seat. John, walk us through the missed milestones. The next 3 hours were brutal. Every flaw in their system, every missed deadline, every optimistic projection was laid bare. Amanda's technical team struggled to explain their decisions to people who actually understood the technology. So, I concluded as the last presentation ended, you've missed 3 major deliverables, your codebase is inefficient, and your scalability projections are fundamentally flawed. We can fix it, Amanda's CTO insisted, we just need more time. Time isn't the issue, I cut in, competence is. Amanda flinched. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. We're assigning our senior development team to review your entire system. You'll implement their recommendations without argument. Miss another milestone, and we pull the contract. You can't, Amanda burst out. That contract is half our revenue. Then I suggest you start taking it seriously. I stood. Daily progress reports starting tomorrow. My team has complete access to your systems. No exceptions. They filed out looking shell-shocked. Amanda lingered. Olivia, please. Please what? Let you continue delivering subpar work because we're family? That's not how this works. I didn't know. No, you didn't, because you never bothered to find out. Too busy being the family success story to notice you weren't the only one building something. She sank back into her chair. Does it feel good, getting revenge like this? Revenge? I laughed. This isn't revenge, Amanda. This is business. Something you claim to understand but clearly don't. What's that supposed to mean? It means you built a company on hype and connections while I built mine on actual technology and expertise. The difference is showing. She stood slowly. I worked hard for everything I've achieved. No, I corrected gently. You worked hard at appearing successful. There's a difference. And you're so perfect, hiding your success, letting everyone think. I didn't hide anything. I just stopped trying to compete with your constant need for attention and validation. That hit home. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. The meeting's over, I said, gathering my papers. You should get back to your office. You have a lot of work to do. After she left, I went back to my office and pulled out an old photo, me and Amanda as kids. Before competition and comparison had driven us apart, we were both smiling, genuine smiles without artifice or agenda. Sarah buzzed my intercom. Your father's here. Of course he was. Dad looked older than I remembered, standing awkwardly in my office doorway. Gone was the confident businessman who'd always treated my career choices with benign neglect. Nice view, he said finally. Better than the IT department you always assumed I was stuck in? He winced. We should have asked more questions. Yes, I agreed. You should have. Your mother's upset. Because she finally has to face how she treated me? Or because Amanda's perfect image is cracking? He sat heavily in a visitor chair. Both, probably. He looked around my office. How did we not know? All these years. You knew what you wanted to know. Amanda was the star, the one who needed support and attention. I was just, reliable. And now you're her boss. No, I corrected. Now I'm her client. A client who's been deeply unimpressed with her company's performance. Are you going to cancel the contract? If they don't improve? Yes, that's business. He nodded slowly. You know, I always thought Amanda inherited my business sense. Turns out you did. I inherited your work ethic, I said quietly. Amanda inherited your love of appearances. That hit home. He looked down at his hands. We failed you, he said finally. No, I stood, walking to the window. You just failed to see me. There's a difference. 3 months later, I sat in the same conference room, reviewing Nexus Solutions' latest progress report. The improvements were significant, amazing what proper oversight and actual consequences could accomplish. Amanda sat across from me, looking different. The designer clothes were still there, but the artificial confidence was gone, replaced by something more genuine. The system updates are complete, she reported. All performance metrics are exceeding targets. So I see. I closed the report. Well done. She blinked, surprised by the praise. Really? I'm hard on my vendors. Amanda, not cruel. You've done good work here. We had help, she admitted. Your team, they know things we never considered. That's what happens when you focus on substance over style. She was quiet for a moment. I'm sorry, she said finally, for everything, the jokes, the dismissal, the way I treated you. I know. How did you do it? Build all this while you were mocking me? Simple. I stopped caring what you thought and focused on what I could build. She nodded slowly. I get that now. The difference between appearing successful and being successful. Do you? Getting my ego handed to me by my tech support sister was quite the wake-up call. She smiled slightly. Mom's still processing it all. Mom's still processing that her backup daughter outperformed her star. You were never the backup, she said quietly. We just couldn't see past our own assumptions. I studied her for a moment. The old Amanda would have turned this into a performance, a dramatic scene of reconciliation. This Amanda just sat there, accepting her truth. The contract's up for renewal next month, I said finally. She straightened. I know. Submit your proposal by Friday. And Amanda? I stood. Make it real this time. No hype, no inflated projections, just honest work. I will. She gathered her things, then paused. Sunday dinner this week? Mom's cooking. Will I be the punchline of your stories again? No, she said seriously, but I might ask you for actual business advice, if that's okay. I smiled slightly. That would be okay. After she left, I went back to my office and looked at that old photo again. Two sisters, before success and competition had driven us apart. Maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to something real. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Dinner on Sunday? I'd like to hear about your company, really hear about it. I looked out at the Seattle skyline, at the city where I'd built my success while my family looked the other way, at the empire I'd created while they underestimated me. Yes, I texted back, I'd like that. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's simply standing in your truth and letting others finally see you clearly. Even if it takes a $2 million contract and a very public revelation to make it happen. What do you think about Olivia's story? Was she right to keep her success hidden, or should she have been more open with her family? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to follow for more stories about family, success, and the courage to be seen.